Are you kidding? Why the hell should I wait for you?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
If you're having nightmares, then welcome to the club. My name's Subaru Natsuki, and I am the Knight of Amelia.
Right now, all I can give you is just death.
It wasn't for you in particular.
You fought 100 men because it's not in your nature to run away.
If you are feeling disheartened, that you are somehow not enough, set your heart ablaze.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to what'll effectively be a little bit of an early Valentine's Day thing, because I had wanted to do it next week, and then I realized actually Valentine's Day is on the Friday before I go live, so won't be able to do anything there. It'll be a little awkward to have missed it by a day, so I decided I'd do it early because honestly I wanted to take a bit of a relaxer this week. I've been pretty busy actually, which should help explain some of the absence of videos. There was some like business trip-esque stuff that I actually had to go out to. There were some other things in my personal life that I've been trying to work on, particularly with some upcoming stuff. I had to go all the way to a store to get some quotes and stuff for shit. Basically, I had to deal with a bunch of personal life stuff. On top of that, I also didn't get quite enough time to work on videos. I got one out this week, but I was live with RCS Rules over on his channel, and we were basically just talking about this season's anime, and that was a really fun chat, actually. He's a cool guy. If you get the chance, go check out some of his stuff, because cool. I mean, this is technically correct. You watch anime, you don't have a life. I spent all day today catching up. I didn't do shit. Like, for real. I didn't do shit today. But yes, that's effectively where I'm at and why there hasn't been a lot of stuff done. I did get the script and the recording done for my next video, which will come out Monday. Ubel Blet. I ended up going a little bit deeper on that than I expected to. It wasn't the normal, like, quick 5-minute piece that I was going to do. It got a little bit bigger and a little bit more intense and in-depth than what I had originally expected to do for that series. And as far as news goes, wasn't really anything I truly wanted to talk about a ton. So tonight is basically going to be talking about the seasonals, which I do every week. And then we're going to talk specifically romance anime and manga. Every romance anime and manga that I have watched or at least tried, ranked. And there's a lot of them. But to quickly catch up with chat, hello, Marcel. Nice to see you. Jeremy Turner, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Ronnie, I know you're just here for clips and to call me names, but I don't care. You're here anyway, so thank you. Finally, a real anime stream. Yes, and without further ado, this is where we left off last week. Let's make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see. And pull up my notes so I can actually talk about these things, because there's a lot to go over. A lot of things that I watch early in the week to try and lighten my load. All right. And there are a couple of new additions this week. But we'll get to those in a bit. Let's start with the first thing I watch, because that's the first thing on the list. 100 girlfriends the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you. No comment on that. So they actually did the whole maid battle thing this week. And honestly, this series has been one of my guilty pleasures for quite some time. A lot of people seem to like it, which makes me happy, makes me hopeful that they'll continue on with the anime. But effectively this week, it was cool to see some like random background characters in there who actually are like other girlfriends and that are in future chapters. They did Mado's whole maid battle where everyone had to put on the maid uniform and do the super soaker battle royale. That part was funny. But more than that, there was the interesting parts of they actually did give Mado a little bit of her background. In the manga, they skipped over that and made a whole joke about how the editor wouldn't let the author put that background or put her whole life story in because it was too dark and would clash tonally with this series. That is literally what is said about it. But it was a good episode. Was it something that I would move this up or down for? No, but I enjoyed it. It retains its spot in the very good category, and I still do recommend anyone who wants a good laugh to check out the series. Moving on from that, we're going to take one that I have really, really liked for quite some time now. I want to escape from princess lessons, and we're going to move it down. Hey, muffler tape. Zenshu is not banned, and checked out Dad Otome Isekai, and good stuff too. Yeah, I've been enjoying Zenshu, although we'll get to that in a bit. Because I'm just now getting started. So Princess Lessons, I'm moving down. And I talked about this when I talked with Biggles this week and a little bit with RCS Rules about how one of my big problems with this series right now is the fact that Clark is not sold well as a romantic partner. He's very clingy, very overprotective, and it feels like it's really hard for me to like want him to want him to get the girl. It almost feels like he's trying really, really hard to, or I should say, he's trying too hard to get Letty's attention. I mean, there's obviously some feelings growing there. That's an actual part of the series that's going on, but it just doesn't feel as like real as I would want it to be, specifically because of, well, Clark's behavior. I have been less and less of a fan of this one as time has gone on. Gone. As time has gone on. It's not bad. It's still watchable. It's just I'm not going to put it in the very good because the magic is sort of worn off on this one. The next one to talk about, because that's pretty much all my points on that, is I have a crush at work. Wow, starting off with a lot of the romance stuff right out the gate. Mostly because I was trying to catch up for other people's streams and make sure that I had watched the things I knew we were going to be talking about. So as far as I have a crush at work goes, again, Yui continues to be the one who is terrible at keeping a secret. You think Clark is a total creep and it's more Stockholm syndrome than anything? That's an interesting point. I don't know if I feel like it's that yet, but Clark definitely needs to be punched in the face when it comes to that series. So yeah, I have a crush at work. They did the vacation episode. Yui is terrible at keeping secrets. She accidentally almost lets it slip that she's dating the guy, leaves a bunch of breadcrumbs for people to figure out, but fortunately it just doesn't pan out in that way. There is more segs. That's a thing. So you can appreciate that in a mature romance series. Not like it really like goes all the way out and shows you what they're doing, but it just kind of like gently implies that they were doing it. And it was a nice episode. I enjoyed it. Would I say it's been the best series of the week? No, but it's definitely like it's a relaxation series, if anything. it's something you can turn on and just feel happy watching. It's not like super complicated. It's not a masterpiece. It doesn't have like an overload of like compelling moments or anything. It's not going to hook you in, but you're going to enjoy it. And now we're going to talk about Shangri-La Frontier because coincidentally, I didn't watch this one right out the gate this week. Which one are you talking about? I have a crush at work because that one is the top of my interesting category here, and I don't do like A tier, S tier, whatever. I kind of took a little bit of liberty with talking about how I feel about these series. I have a crush at work is right at the top of the interesting category, so the third group from the top. And that is the ones where it's like, all right, I'll continue watching these because I enjoy them, but I don't think they're by far some amazing piece of work or piece of entertainment. Interesting is it's good enough. Or sorry, it's the casual, it's good category. Was surprised though they wouldn't want to accommodate their partner when deciding on the vacation. When I first got together with my girlfriend, we were constantly trying to please each other. Yeah, I think that's going to be one of those things that is going to vary person by person. Some people are more agreeable than others, and if you keep in mind the fact that these two were somewhat notorious for fighting each other in their workplace and butting heads, it makes sense that they would actually like their differing personalities and already inbuilt stubbornness would lead them to struggle so much. So yeah, I want to move on to Shangri-La Frontier now. Shangri-La Frontier, I like that we're back on track with the story. We're back to Sun Raku and his tracking of another Colossi. That's cool. It's also nice to see the Ninja Girl and Saiger Zero are still sticking around. I was kind of worried that they might just ditch them all together for a good section of the story, but it does seem like they're actually going to become part of this next arc. Mostly just jealous of everyone else who has someone to spend it with, you know. That's my running joke for this holiday now is just that I'm a spiteful single idiot. For real though, I could care less because as soon as the Valentine's Day sales hit, I get to buy a bunch of cheap chocolate. But the last point I have on Shangri-La Frontier is this like fighting tournament and Colossus hunt seem like they're going to overlap a bit, so that could be a cool bunch of stuff to see. SSI, spiteful single idiot. Hello, JM. Hello, Keo. Very good stance. Discount chocolate is always welcome. Exactly. Look, even if you're single on Valentine's Day, there's always something worth looking forward to. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to round this out. I do like the interactions that people are now, or that Sunraku is now having with all of the NPCs because of his marks and stuff. I like that we're getting to see more of the like other groups of characters, and we're probably going to see a lot of interesting stuff with this upcoming fighting tournament. Yeah, sucks when you're alone and all of your friends are dating, but jokes on them. I've saved money and get the cheap chocolate. Win-win. True, there's that. I've also got other things that I need money for right now, so it's not even like I can afford to have a girlfriend at the moment. It's literally like the least optimal time for me to be dating anyone, which sucks because I'm in my mid-20s, which is yeah. Life is complicated. That's why I like anime, because it is simple most of the time. I don't mind them. I don't think I didn't like the episode where it focused solely on them. I thought that episode actually kind of sucked, but I think they make a good sounding board for a lot of the stuff Sunraku will say. He'll say something, they'll quit back at him, and the banter between them is a good, lively part of the series. Their personalities clashing and their different interests make it fun to watch them interact. But I don't want to see I don't want to see an episode specifically about them. If it doesn't have Sunraku in it, the series just isn't as fun. Tying the knot with an Amagami sister. This one's actually moving up all the way to must watch after that last episode. It's probably my favorite episode of this whole series. I mean, it was really good with the Yae stuff, and then the fireworks festival with Asahi. I kind of feel the same way, but some of the other games have been interesting. Like I did like the Nephilim Hollow stuff. Yeah, I agree. I would never want to be around that person in real life, but I think she's a funny character. Pencil gone. But with this latest episode of tying the knot with an Amagami sister, Udio is finally like committed, like decided that this is what he's gonna do, and he's gonna be greedy and go for it all. And I like that. And the fact that all the girls are now like, rather than trying to push him away or just rely on him all the time, they're actually trying to carry their own weight and help him too. So all around, really good episode. I like that it's finally gotten to the point where he is, like I said, committed to this whole thing. That's why it's one of my favorite. The way it ends with him basically walking out, turning around, and then coming right back. Greedy is the key word here. Bro's gonna catch all the sisters. Honestly, I hope so. If it ain't a harem, I'm not happy, okay? So that one's moving way up. I really, really enjoyed tying it out with an Amagami sister. Because it makes me feel happy to watch it. I was kind of worried that Uryu was going to walk out and there was going to be a couple of episodes before he came back. I'm glad it was like an instantaneous resolution thing. So can I repeat that one more time? Were you talking about if it's not a harem, I won't be happy? I forget exactly what I said. Okay. Respectable opinion. So we're going to talk about my favorite anime, one of my favorite anime of all time that has finally returned, Re:Zero. Episode 9 dropped this week, so Core 2 counterattack arc has begun, and I'm happy with it. It looked good. I liked the fight going down between Greed and Reinhardt. That was great. A lot of the other fights getting set up in the background was interesting. I think the biggest highlight of it though was Priscilla Burial's titties. Considering that got more hyped than one of the biggest fights in ReZero is hilarious to me. To be fair though, it's one of the only like scenes where someone is that naked in the show. I don't think there's ever like another point at which, well, I should say there's never a point at which another woman has that little clothing on. Because I know there is a point at which Roswell is in the bath, but they don't really show anything, and he's a dude, and I'm not into that. So yeah, like I expected, ReZero was my favorite thing of this week. Yes, I'm absolutely biased, and you can scream at me for that all you want. Good, good. Would people lose their shit watching Behemoth Cat? Well, here's the thing. Like I said, it's one of the only Priscilla's scene in that episode is like one of the only like quote unquote fan service episodes you get in ReZero, or fan service moments you get in ReZero. They don't do a lot of sexy stuff. They don't do a lot of fan service in the story. So that is like the one time where you actually get something like that. That's why it got a lot of hype, because a lot of people thought it was just going to get cut out altogether. It isn't terribly relevant to the story. It's just a scene of Priscilla changing into a different dress before going into battle. But yeah, I'm very happy with the return of ReZero. Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. It was a good episode, but I don't know if I want to keep it up here. I'm going to drop it a bit. I was not terribly I'm not a huge fan of the fantasy side of it. This again is another one of those series that is good for like a relaxation series. It's a calming series. You'll watch it, you'll enjoy it. But the slice of life stuff is more fun than the fantasy stuff. Like every time, I'm more interested in the slice of life stuff with Maribel like in our world than I am in everyone going back to the fantasy realm. Miss Elf. Although you can probably find something like that if you go to the hub. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to move it down to okay because I still do enjoy it quite a bit, but like I feel like it struggles to find a good balance between the fantasy the fantasy elements in the slice of life. And yes, you are right, Marcel. Hardly any Miss Elf in this episode of Miss Elf in Japan. Well, there's no Japan, and there's almost no elf. So I don't think it was a particularly good episode this week. Restaurant in Another World show, and that's how this is. And that's how this show, Miss Elf, can't excel. Yeah, like it's a good chill anime. Much like there are some like manga and stuff that I read just because they're chill. They aren't super stressful or anything. They aren't super intense, I should say, not stressful. If a show is stressing you out, I think there's something wrong with you. I think I've been using that word wrong. But Miss Elf it's all right. Not its greatest episode this week, but overall still enjoyable. Not the worst thing out there. Let's talk about I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. And now this week, There's yet another rumor causing Alina problems. She is completely back to rejecting what's the guy's name? Why do I always forget this guy's name? Give me a second here. If it's Luke, Jade. It's Jade. She's back to rejecting Jade's advances and strikes up a deal for him to help her do all her work in exchange for a date or a single day of a date at one of their centennial festivals or whatever it is. I don't look. I enjoy the series, but I don't think I enjoy it as much as other people. Part of it is like I do enjoy the main character and her little like um attempt to keep her secret identity and this somewhat growing relationship with the guild's number one adventurer. It's entertaining in and of its own right. But it's not like the thing that I would immediately jump to as like, oh, this is an amazing series everyone must watch. Like I would pick a bunch of other series before this, before recommending this, even though it still is good. I mean, there's a reason all of these other ones are up over top of it. This show ran out of the gimmick in episode 1. It's a pretty finite premise. I think it's still entertaining just because of like the interactions between Jade and Alina. But other than that, I'm not too terribly impressed with its story or its world or anything. It's just kind of funny. Jade is a ladyboy name, LMFAO. First 2 episodes were okay. Interested in feedback on more. It's probably a drop unless that relationship is a thing. I feel the same way. Like, I feel like there should be something going on there at this point, especially after everything that happened during the Chalk Tower. And I do agree. It's getting to this point for me. It's good, but not special. I enjoy it, but it's just there. Now, if it keeps up this trajectory, it'll probably drop into the interesting category next week. Avoiding OT is getting old, like blech. Get another job or become an adventurer. You're not going to die anytime in 99.9% of the dungeons. Yeah, I can see that complaint. That's not how I feel about it. It's more so like there's a part of this that I want to enjoy, but everything else is just kind of stale at this point. The fuck you trying to front my Honkai Star Rail mommy? Oh boy. Okay. So let's talk. Dad's been reincarnated now. To move on to one that I actually do really, really, really enjoy. I will voice my like first significant complaint about this series. I hope they use the family stuff sparingly going forward. Because one of the issues I had with this is I didn't enjoy the section of the story where the family is actually like dealing with the game as much as I did actually seeing Grace in action. I do like the idea of the family stuff, but I think it needs to be used sparingly and not spammed. So that part, not a fan of, but the second half I actually did really like. Particularly because it was another like fail to be villainous kind of thing, where she tries to seem like she's being really strict and all that, and it only makes Anna like her more. But I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of worried that they're gonna start using the family stuff more. It is kind of weird to see the different angle. That's why I say use it sparingly. That one episode was a really good function, and the story probably would continue on just fine without going back and forth between the game world and the family. I feel like it would actually be better served just focusing on the game world and only very rarely returning to see everyone's reactions to what's going on. It doesn't need to be an every episode thing. In fact, I think you should probably only use it one more time in the rest of the series, and that'll have to be closer to the end of this season. That's really my only complaint, and we are 5 episodes into Dad's Been Reincarnated. And that's really the one thing that I will get stuck on. Trillion Game. So I actually was behind 3 episodes on Trillion Game and didn't realize it. Don't ask how, I just somehow got 3 episodes behind. So I caught up. I somehow doubt Dad's Been Reincarnated will end with a season 1. It's possible, but I doubt it'll actually end, especially with what I know from what other friends have said about it. Trillion Game, I'm moving down. I did like with these last couple of episodes that Gaku has started taking action himself, and he's actually had some like good confidence boosting moments, but I'm just not as enthralled in the story as time goes on. Like the more I see these guys do their thing, the less and less I'm intrigued by them. It's like one of those things where its shtick kind of just doesn't do well over time. It wears out its one good element. The difference in perspective between Haru and Gaku, and their different ways of viewing business and their own actions. Drawing is its only downside. I also miss Core 1 ending song. Yeah. It's a good series. Like, look, it is a good series in and of itself in the way that it's written. If you're looking for a good, like, business drama, this would be what I'd turn you to. But it's not particularly for me. So my opinion of it is it's okay. I respect anyone who actually does like it. That's fine. It's a perfectly acceptable answer for this is my favorite anime of the season. It's just not one that I am terribly invested in anymore at this point. Let's talk about another one that I haven't been terribly invested in. Dragon Ball Daima. So I have not been a huge fan of Dragon Ball Daima. There have been points at which I was really interested, like the Tamagami fights. But the story and anything that isn't them fighting a big bad hasn't really been very interesting to me. So really, the saving grace for this latest episode, and the reason it's moving up a bit, is the fact that well, we actually get to fight a big bad this episode. There's a Super Saiyan 3 transformation. It was actually pretty well done as far as like the camera angles and the animation for that battle, but it was the final third of the episode in which all that happens. Everything else before that was really freaking boring and sluggish. Like I was literally sitting there like, how long is this episode going to take? How long is this episode going to take? Come on, come on, come on. And then it got to King Goma, and that was actually a very, very fun part of the series. This episode has me excited to see some good stuff. And that's an improvement from the previous episodes of Daima. because there was a point in there which I literally didn't think it could get better. I thought it was going to fall off, but they brought it back around. This one has been like one of the biggest roller coaster series I have ever watched. It gets really good for a brief moment and then falls back down and then comes back up a little bit and then falls way back down. I dropped Daima by episode 3 or 4. Don't do dub or Dragon Ball in Japanese. I don't like their voices, and the English is not DBZ actors. And they should have kept the same voice as adults. They are more chibi. Yeah, I haven't really been a fan of the kid thing either. It's been meh. Not my favorite experience this anime season. It's been pretty lackluster. So there's that's all I can say about it. Is I'm hyped to see how Super Saiyan 3 Goku is going to handle this situation. Especially now that it's a full-on melee. So Daimyo's Dragon Balls aren't good. Well, neither is this gaming channel. Oh! I'm kidding. It ends February 20th, huh? Okay. So they do only have a few more episodes left. Interesting. Let's talk about the Red Ranger becomes an adventure in another world. I'm not a fan of the story writing. I'll be completely blunt about it. Was not impressed this episode. Logi being a like possessive dickhead over the princess. Yeah, saw that coming, and him not wanting to work with Red. Yep, saw that coming. Okay, cool. I'm just not having that much fun watching it anymore. It's gonna sit here because at least there are some elements to it that are kind of funny, like Ydra breaking down the problems with trying to fight alongside Red, like the fact that he constantly causes explosions. It's mildly entertaining, but I would not say this is some amazing creation whatsoever. It's all right. We get a lot of fun fan service from the sorcerer girl. Yeah, true. We do get a lot of fan service from her. But there's really nothing of note to talk about because, I mean, it goes exactly how you would expect if you had been keeping up with this series. It doesn't do anything to really catch me off guard or make me impressed. All its moves are so telegraphed, it feels basic. And while we're down here scraping the bottom of the barrel, let's talk about Appraiser. I'm done with Appraiser, and I'm not coming back. Honestly, all of the plot, same thing with Red Ranger, but all of the plot twists are predictable. The characters feel shallow and unentertaining. The fights, not really there. And the episodes just feel like a slog to get through. Like you're just sitting there watching him expand his harem and go body a bunch of really, really powerful monsters in some meh animation at best. I wanted to like this one because it actually did an interesting thing of going through a training arc at the beginning. But now it's just come to the point where, like, I am terribly uninterested in anything that's going on, especially with the quote unquote twist that happened at the end of that episode. Like, I saw that coming from a mile away. Look, everyone has that anime that is like their trash taste. Okay? Like it objectively sucks, but you enjoy it. I could probably go through my list and find something like that, but like there legitimately are. I think everyone has at least one series. When if they watch a lot of anime, that is, they have at least one series where they know it's objectively garbage, but still like it anyway and will defend it. So I'm done with Appraiser. I don't want to watch it anymore. However, It's become very generic, but I still enjoy it. I'm a sucker for fantasy / isekai. Yeah, I get it. But when it comes to entertainment, I want to enjoy what I'm watching. I'm not just going to sit there and watch it because I like fantasy or isekai, which I do like those things. I actually want to have something in there that I am looking for. This season, I got like 3: Online Shopper, Appraiser, and Behemoth Cat. All 3 that I have dropped. So Amaku MD has finally wrapped up its curse arc. And brought an end to all of this supernatural business. I felt a little anticlimactic with how fast the mystery got solved, but it's one of those things where you have to keep in mind this was a 3-parter. And there was a bunch of stuff that led up to this latest development. And now it does kind of get a little dark with like the abuse and stuff. But why does Amaku keep doing these specials? Surprised me with how much I've enjoyed it. I'll be ready for the 2 space isekai at this point, just for a setting. Specials. I don't know what you're talking about, Kyo. Or if you're talking about how they're doing multiple parts to it, I don't mind that. I actually enjoy those more. There's a couple of people attempting to get me to watch Evangelion, and look, I know I need to watch it, but I have not. Anyway, as far as Amaku MD goes, there was a moment in there where it does seem like Amaku is generally concerned about Kotori. I thought that was a nice touch. Like she actually has some interest in him other than just using him as a pawn. So I don't know. This one was kind of a bit weaker, but it's still up there. It's still a very good series. They've not aired new eps a few weeks so far into into its season, with them airing specials. I still don't think I'm tracking because I know they did have one point at which they skipped a week and didn't air anything. But I don't know anything else about Amaku not actually airing any episodes. I'm genuinely not tracking on that one. Like this Friday, no new ep. Oh, this upcoming week. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But we'll move on from Amaku MD. I did like the series, but it wasn't its strongest episode. This one. Let's talk solo leveling, because I actually do have to bump solo leveling up after this week's episode. That was really freaking fantastic. It was exactly what I was hoping for. Basically, Sun Jinwoo just flexing on a whole horde of enemies. It turns out into an all-out melee, and he uses his powers in a way that's just kind of broken if you're in a all-out battle. Absolutely great. And of course, everyone's now more people are finding out just how powerful Sun Jinwoo is. With AOT coming up, it's an interesting one for you to look at, since there are parallels with some elements in Neon Genesis Evangelion. I think you will appreciate the deep storytelling sans depression. This episode broke me a little. They just keep standing in that building that is literally on fire, with gasoline and explosives in every corner, and just keep on having their casual conversation. I agree. That part did annoy me as far as like Amako MD goes. It's funny because the other hunters in solo leveling also stood inside a giant burning room and didn't do much. But in this case, it was actually really exciting because there was a lot of good fights going on, a really good animation altogether. So it was just this episode of solo leveling was fantastic. It really deserves to move up to that spot. It lived up to the hype. It gave me what I wanted. Straight fucking dope action. Let's talk Zenshu. So I enjoy Zenshu. I really do. But only so much. My issue is it's getting kind of stale, I guess. I like that they're trying to spice it up by making Natsuko's powers not work as well as she wants them to. She's getting too cocky, yada yada yada. I get it. I also thought it was funny seeing Buff Destiny this week. Still can't believe how much I like this season, how much more I like this season than the last. Yes. Zenshu, though, I don't know. The animation's been good. Some of the the character work has been interesting, but it still feels like it lacks something that really compels me to watch it. It's an entertaining show. I would put it there with one that you would want to sit down and just like, all right, I'll watch a couple of episodes of this to see if it's any good. Something you could easily turn on and just let it run. It's entertaining for that, but it's not a must-watch, sit down, binge it all right now kind of anime. Ending with season 1, I think it's also an original show, so I'm fine finishing it. I'm at this point, I'm still going to finish it. It hasn't bugged me. It's just one where like the longer the story has gone on, the less interested I have really been in it. It's not terrible. Like genuinely, I do enjoy it. It's a good show. It's got a solid story, decent characters, and good animation. But it is not my favorite of the season. Okitsura. Okitsura is another one where I feel Just so we're clear, I have my other screen hooked up. It completely crashed my tab. So I'm trying to reboot it on my actual PC right now. So this is my laptop mic you're hearing if this sounds like shit. And of course, the whole fucking network has crashed on my. Gotta love it. Okay, we're reconnected. I'm rebooting StreamYards right now. Entering the studio again. There we go. I'm back. It decided to entirely crash on me. 40 years too young to pull a Gary. All right, let's share screen. Let's get back to this. Because well, I was in the middle of talking about Okitsura. I had to drop Okinawa Girl a while ago, some reason, as RC has mentioned in his collab stream. I can get it. It's one of those things where, like, I genuinely understand why someone wouldn't want to watch this, but I love it. The issue is, as the series gimmick has worn off, it has somewhat replaced that with something very interesting in the form of the relationship between Teru and Kana. But that isn't the focus of the series. So, like, what? That's the best element you have going for it. Yes, also speaking of the devil, hello, Arceus. Nice to see you. So I really do like this show. It's just, I'm really worried they aren't going to do the thing that it needs to do. Unfortunately, I didn't watch Hokkaido Gals, or I didn't watch Hokkaido Gals, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question for you. It's just the unfortunate nature of how much I watched. Let's talk about Blue Box. Because Blue Box had a really good episode this week, if you ask me. Insofar as the match between Taiki and Yusa was a really, really good demonstration of how far Taiki's gotten. That part of it was a really good nail biter. It added a lot of like tension. It helped with the progression of the characters, showed how far Taiki's actually gotten due to his hard work. It was a win he needed, a big win he needed in this series, especially after taking several losses in recent episodes. The Hina being goofy while watching the match was funny. I did enjoy that part. It was interesting. But otherwise, it was just Blue Box suffers from the same problem that I always mention. Hina's the better girl. Chinatsu isn't as interesting, even though she still is a good character. I think Hokkaido Girls was better. It was much more of an actual rom-com compared to this ad for Okinawa with a bit of rom-com sprinkled in. That's an interesting perspective. Orb. Let's move on to Orb. I'm moving this one down to the okay category too. And I do like the series. It's just I'm less and less interested in all of the philosophizing that goes on with this series. especially after the disappointing turn of events in the series, where two characters who I thought were actually going to meet up in this one didn't. If you want to live in Okinawa, you can just go to New Orleans, and there is a chance you will get the same experience. Oh boy. Cajun is foreign to everyone or something. Uh, no, there are genuinely things I do really respect about Orbit, and I've talked about them, about how it does a really good job of balancing perspectives when it easily could have taken a very like blunt and aggressive stance against some of the positions people had in that time period. But it decided to go more for the historical perspective and like actually have a bunch of different opinions on God, on the universe, on how things are should be run. That part of it was really fascinating to me, and some of like the heliocentric proofs that they did were interesting. I just wish they would have focused more on the science aspect of it rather than just the persecution part of it. And with how things turned out in that last episode, I'm kind of disappointed that certain character interactions didn't happen. It spent a lot of time philosophizing. I haven't really been a fan of that. So I'm dropping it down to the okay category. It's interesting enough to keep watching. But as time has gone on, I've gotten sick of them spending so much time talking about philosophy and beliefs and all that stuff. A rank party. I don't know what to make of this one, so I'm not moving it. I mean, they are setting up like the big dungeon dive quest that the main character that is the main character's dream. That part is interesting. Um, the group buys a new house. And they finally decided to show the cat girl. I think the interesting part was Yuke basically telling off Simon again that he doesn't want anything to do with Simon. That was a good bit for the series. I'm actually going to move this up one. I don't actually know if that's going to matter or not. It's a genuinely wholesome series that is entertaining enough to watch. Again, not the most amazing thing, but it's there to enjoy. No, I haven't noticed that. Now I'm going to pay attention to it. I don't really have much to say about A Rank Adventure because really the highlight of it was Yuke basically telling off his old party that he doesn't want to be around them. Sakamoto Days. It continues to just hang in there, but holy hell, is that one heckin' oof of a screw up with the animation on that gun. And let me tell you that I have never heard of a bolt action rifle that fires in 3-round burst. Again, it's wholesome John Wick, but I don't really think this series has ever been the most amazing thing. If your big thing is that it should survive on fight scenes, well, I think you've got the wrong perspective on an anime. This one is just kind of there. The story isn't all that great. I don't find the characters and am I on the Japanese schedule? I don't know what schedule I'm on, to be entirely honest. I'm on something. All I do is watch a shit ton of anime. That's what I do. Episode 5 just aired on American Netflix. Well, yeah, I mean, I watched it earlier today, so that may be a thing. Yeah, I continually feel like there is something wrong with Sakamoto Days. Like, it's not like the greatest thing ever. Its story doesn't hook me. Its characters are all right. Its action is entertaining, but I'm never super impressed with it. It continues to just be wholesome John Wick, in my opinion. Wholesome John Wick done by people who don't know how guns function. All right. Apothecary Diaries, because that's one of the big ones I do need to talk about. Apothecary Diaries. It's a lesser version of Spy Family to me. Yeah, I can honestly respect that opinion of it. Apothecary Diaries this week was good, but I'm still really curious what it's all building up to. It's been a lot of like drip feeding little bits of information into the story and like setting up something really complicated, but I'm still trying to figure out where it's all going. Obviously, I think it all sort of ties into someone's political ambitions for China, but to what extent what they're planning, I'm kind of lost. The funny part though is seeing Shi's reaction to being forced to pretend that he's a woman. And there's also potentially Mao Mao getting into some trouble for making medicine here. That said, still a really good series. Still really, really interested in it. Although for this one, I may end up going back and watching the dub because I feel like I prefer the dub more than the sub for this one. Couple more to talk about, namely honey lemon soda. And I don't really know if I can move honey lemon soda either. What to say about this one? I like the changes that Ishimori is actually yeah, that is one thing I would genuinely be concerned about. I think that concubine that you're talking about has something to do with the conspiracy, but I digress. My theories are usually wrong when it comes to stuff like that. Um, but honey lemon soda, I like the changes that Ishimori is showing. It's just I feel like again it constantly decides to like throw humor out there, but not really give it all of the support that it needs in the series. Like it gets a little bit of animation, but the music in the background doesn't match the tone of what's being shown on the screen. Things are generally like I don't know, the good animation for the humor is generally pretty short lived, and it's still very like enigmatic as far as Kai and his other relationships go, and I feel like that's kind of dragging. But at the very least, the main character is doing a good job carrying or holding up the story. Next, to talk about Ubel Blett. Not for me. And I'll talk more detail in this in my video, but effectively, it's hard to follow. There's too many characters being thrown out at any given moment. Um, and it leaves you it leaves you confused because you don't know who's who. There's a bunch of countries and stuff being talked about, and you don't know what's what. And then some characters will just come out of nowhere altogether. And yeah. And I'll have a detailed explanation of this series Monday. I have my video in the works on this series, and I'll be dropping that Monday. I will talk about my impression of the anime, the issues I have, and particularly what my research on it has dug up. And there are some surprising things about it. Needless to say, I would not recommend I would not recommend getting into this series in any facet, actually, if what I have read is true. It is potential that there is the issue that a lot of people report that editorial changes have ruined the source material. But the first 70 chapters were really good. My big complaints are effectively that too many characters, you don't know who's who. And the fact that Kusharlindo, that I always butcher that name, Kusharlindo, just comes out of nowhere in this story, and you're expected to know why she has this bad blood with Coinzel without it actually being explained or shown. But with all that said, there is one more I need to talk about, the newest entry in this series, in this season's running. One that I thought was astoundingly good. Medalist, and I have slept on this one. It survives on its characterization, and effectively the story is you have this young girl who wants to be a figure skater, but who is too scared to tell her mom about it. And like her whole passion is figure skating, and her coach, I've only watched one episode, by the way. Her coach is well, he has some confidence issues because he feels like he's not good enough of a figure skater because he didn't start early enough. So now he's found a student that he's actually passionate about teaching. It's a very good story. The characterizations of this in this were really good in the first episode. I loved this one. So I'm going to continue watching it, and I'm kind of upset that I've slept on it for so long. Because I kept telling myself I was going to get around to this one and eventually watch it, but I just didn't. So that's on me. It's my bad. It's a good series with great characters. Yes, I intend to, Marcel. I have, I think, 5 more episodes that I got to watch. But that pretty much encapsulates all of the anime I've watched. That's it. That is the week of anime. Which kind of, takes us back to another tier list. So I am going to minimize this for a bit. Yeah, really the highlights, I think, for this week. As far as anime, Medalist was a really good thing to pick up. Excuse me. Pardon me. Medalist was a really good thing to pick up. Solo Leveling had a really, really good episode. Tying the Knot with an Amagami Sister was fantastic this week. And of course, don't forget that ReZero came back, and I'm a huge stan for that series. So obviously, I got to mention it. Did you ever watch The Fable? I had intended to last year, but never got around to it. Kind of an unfortunate thing on my part because I wanted to watch that series. It seemed like it could be funny, but I just didn't get to it. All right. So now for the Valentine's Day part. We're going to talk ranking every romance I have watched / read that I have recorded that I could find. So I literally went through my entire manga library, my entire anime and manga list to find every anime that is romance, or at least heavily focuses on romance, that I could check out, or that I could rank. Because it's in the theme of Valentine's Day, why not talk about love? And also, special thanks to Jeremy Turner for becoming a member. I really do appreciate it. And with that, you Uh, Gotta roll, but love the stream. Thank you. Uh, it's funny. Was for me anyway, especially the sister. Yeah. It's weird as fuck, but loved it. Wanted to continue with the manga, but haven't done so yet. Interesting. So maybe I will have to end up checking out Fable. All right. So now we're talking about romance, and you're going to see some familiar ones in here, and well, maybe I'll start some fights. So we'll just go from whatever's listed here first. Obviously, Toradora. How do I feel about Toradora? I really did like it, but I feel like towards the end it kind of hits a slump where it does the like will they won't they sort of thing. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but I did recently go back and watch some of it and was like, man, this is better than what I expected. Toradora do really like. S tier romance. Obviously Love is War is S tier romance, don't need to explain that. Love is War, hands down, probably one of the best romance anime out there. I don't need to say much more. It's just I've never laughed harder. Well, I've almost never laughed harder than when I watched Love is War for the first time. Brilliant comedy, great elements, all combined into one really, really fantastic show. Don't toy with me, Miss Nagatoro. F tier romance. Okay? F tier. The chick basically bullies the dude for 2/3 of his high school life. She mocks the manga that he's working on. It's basically just a total bitch to him. Are you saying my take is bait, rage bait? Because I genuinely don't like this story. I can respect people who actually do like it, but I don't. Like I genuinely don't. Nagatoro and the protagonist together annoyed the shit out of me to the point where I didn't even watch a full episode. I got about like 3/4 of the way through the first episode and was like, yeah, I'm not interested in this because what I really want is the main guy to just stick up for himself for once. And it never happens. I can't. I can't with Nagatoro. Okay? Horimiya. Honestly, Horimiya is one of my favorite romances. Horimiya is fantastic. Now, is it as like bombastic or explosive with its comedy as other series? No. But it's good. It's all contained within 12 episodes. The story is complete. And it's still got some really good comedy, some good character designs, humor, all that stuff. I do highly recommend Horimiya to anyone who's getting into romance, or particularly romance anime. Great show, especially with the whole thing of Hori having her whole like she does not like the idea of think I'm the only person that didn't appreciate the fetish slash kink she had. To me, it was just funny. Like, because Miyamura is usually so calm and tame. I thought it was funny to see her reaction to it. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be into any of that too, either. Are you saying muffler tape? Are you saying Nagatoro is a B because she's so hurtful? Bro, you don't need to get me started on the demographics for series like Rants and Redo of Healer. I do know it gets pretty wholesome in the long run. It gets a lot better. Christ, Pilgrim. Her name is Nagatoro, not Roman. God. I just felt like when it comes to characters like Nagatoro, they need to get put in their place. That is my big issue. Comey can't communicate. This one, I'm actually going to put an A tier. Because I do love it, but it fucking drags sometimes. It drags. Especially with the stuff with the gal that Comey becomes friends with, like in the middle of the series. That part felt like really, really forced relationship drama, like a forced love triangle thing going in there. I wasn't a fan of it. But everything else so far has been great. I do like the relationship between Todd No and Comey and how they both sort of like come out of their shells, and they both have good character arcs in this series. So I think this is a A tier. It's not an S tier. It does have its flaws. Prefer Nagatoro over Comey. Okay. Suit yourself. My Dress Up Darling. S tier. Easy. I don't even need to tell you. Like, this is one of the better romance. It's in spite of being kind of fan servicey and horny at times, very wholesome, very good message about like just learn to appreciate your hobbies and just don't be ashamed of them. And the fact that Maureen is just bubbly chaos and fun is hilarious to me. She's a total goober. And the series wouldn't be saying that her. Have you watched Golden Time yet? I have not watched Golden Time. Measurements scene, yes. Maureen's cleavage alone is already S tier. Hey, well. I mean, I know they're doing a season 2, and I don't know if they're going to do the scene where Maureen actually has her tits out. Like that's legitimately a thing in the manga. Actually, as far as Nagatoro goes, I'm gonna move it up to D because I feel like F is too harsh. Like, it's genuinely a good story. I just don't like Nagatoro and the main character in the beginning, which is like makes it really hard for me to get in. Golden Time is a wreck for romance due to the very K-drama nature of it. Okay, I'll put it on the list. Plus, there's also things that I think are way worse than Nagatoro, and I wouldn't even dare compare Nagatoro to them. Couple of Cuckoos. This trash is C tier because it at least starts out interesting, but very quickly gets far too complicated for its own good. Like a couple of Cuckoos is just not good. Like, it is not good. The longer you watch it, especially after seeing some of the spoilers for the manga, I would not recommend it. It just feels utterly ridiculous. It is terribly convoluted, and there are other series in here that are also terribly convoluted like that. Way to keep me away from the series. A couple of Cuckoos and one fucking cuck. That's what I'll say. Rent a Girlfriend. Rent a Girlfriend is an F tier romance. Genuinely. I can't stand this show. And it has the same problem as Don't Toy With Me Nagatoro, except for I genuinely just fucking hate Kazuya. I can't stand him. And as long as we're talking about cucks, well, I mean, Kazuya. But let's just put this in perspective. A dude rents a girlfriend and then is so pathetic that he gets jealous of the rented girlfriend. Going out on another date with a dude for business and he stalks them. I'm just not interested in the character because he won't grow a fucking backbone. Tomo-chan is a girl. B tier. I have read the manga and watched the anime for this. So I will say the biggest thing. Cuck. I would say a cuck is worse than a simp because at least when it comes to a simp, you can milk them for money. Tomo-chan is a girl I did like. The characters were good. I personally liked the dub. I know a lot of people weren't very happy with the chick who voiced Tomo-chan. But I liked the dub particularly because Carol Olston was the best character, also voiced by her Japanese voice actor in English, Sally Akami. It was a good series. It's a genuinely good series, okay? It is. But if I had to rank it, I would say. Mm, hmm. Now I'm jogging my memory a little bit. I actually did like it quite a bit. I can settle with putting it in A tier. I'm okay with that one. Um, this one's a B tier. Uh, the Ice Guy and his cool female colleague. It's not a terrible series, but it is entertaining. I mean, it's pretty chill, um, low key. It leans more to the shojo side than the shonen side, so I'm not going to enjoy it as much. Tomo-chan at least had like some like humor and stuff. It was good for the comedy, and again, Carol Olston. Um, Tony Kawa, Over the Moon for you, or Fly Me to the Moon. B tier. It's cute, fluff series, but with a little bit of a science fiction twist to it. There's some stuff implied about the chick that is certainly intriguing, but this one was just kind of there. Felt dull, but yeah, the ice one. Yeah, it did. It does feel really dull at times. And same with this. As much as I do like the fact that it's literally like, hey, we just met and we're getting married. It was promoted as an adult romance, but they acted like middle schoolers. True. In fact, I would actually put Tony Kawa above um, the ice guy and his cool female colleague. But yeah, I mean, Tony Kawa is interesting if you just want like a newlyweds sort of experience. It's good, but it's not like a masterpiece. The charm will wear off on you over time. And it also does have a little bit of comedy, so that part is interesting. The Dangers in My Heart. Easy S tier. It's one of my favorite romances. Love the characters, the animation, just all around fantastic. Yamada is pretty much like my favorite personality type when it comes to a heroine. Like the bubbly, ditzy, really fun kind of character. Like Dangers in My Heart is fantastic. Um My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. I'm trying to remember this one. Like, I genuinely don't remember how much I liked it or not. I feel like this one is one that I watched the first season. But didn't really care much for it, and I probably wouldn't watch a second season for this. Based, Marcel, based. I'm not on recap. This is a completely different segment. I'm actually talking strictly because I decided to do my early Valentine's Day spite. So I'm ranking all of the romance anime and manga that I have ever read and watched. It's just the fact that I'm using a similar tier list. Anyway, as far as my love story with Yamada-kun, I don't know. I could take it or leave it, honestly. So B tier. It's not terrible. I'm just not super duper into it. Galaxy Next Door. B tier again. I did like the characters. Um but it feels pretty generic as far as romance go. It does have some like cool like quote science fiction twists to it. But other than that, I don't know. It's all right. I enjoyed it, probably more than most. Um, Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. Uh, I don't know. This one feels like another B tier to me, like very generic in most ways. And I don't think it technically counts as a romance, but like the relation, her crush on the pastor is like a huge part of the series, so that's why I'm counting it as romance. Unfortunately, Muffler Tape, I haven't watched Darling in the Franxx, so the big issue I have with Pastor Lawrence and Saint Cecilia is that like I said, it just it's generic. This one I'm counting as a romance because romance is um a huge part of its story. I only watched a couple of episodes. Actually, I'm gonna put in D tier. Like I don't like Tales of Wedding Rings. It's just it feels like a porn parody of Lord of the Rings. That's all I can really say about it. Is it feels like a porn parody of Lord of the Rings. Um, in Archdemon's Dilemma, How to Treat Your Elf Bride, A tier. I have a thing for silver-haired elves, and the girl in this is just hilarious, and the fact that he doesn't know how to show his affection to her. Love is Indivisible by Twins. C tier. Overly complicated, way too drama heavy. Where's the where's the link so I can repost it? Oh no, Pilgrim. Fuck that Twins show. All right, so I never completed it. I only watched a couple of episodes and I found it like really, really fucking boring. Um Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. A tier. Oh, not that high. A tier. I like it. I actually did videos on why like some of the characters are really well written. I did enjoy it. It was fun. There was some good stuff for Alia herself as far as character progression goes. Is it the most amazing thing of its season? No, but it was still enjoyable and I did like it. Make Ine, Too Many Losing Heroines. S tier. Easy. S tier. Like this is one of like the few just truly fantastic, almost flawless anime out there. If you haven't watched Too Many Losing Heroines, you gotta. Let's see here. Pseudo harem. I might catch flack for this one. C tier. It was enjoyable for about half the season, and then the gimmick wore off, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with this one. It didn't really interest me all that much. 2.5D Seduction. B tier. Basically just a hornier version of My Dress Up Darling. Didn't care one bit about that. Give me the cute Russian girl blushing. Such an easy win if done right. That's certainly an opinion. Okay. My wife has no emotion. C tier as well. I don't really resonate with a dude falling in love with a robot. Sorry, that's not me. Yakuza Fiance. D tier. Sucks ass. I mean, I'm not opposed to someone opening up an episode with dude fucking eating pussy, but he's a fucking crazy psycho bitch. He is the crazy psycho bitch. And so is she. Actually, both of them are crazy. I don't like either of them. The magical girl and evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies. I'm gonna put this high B tier. It was cute, it was fluffy, it was fun, but I don't think it's ever going to get completed because the author died. So, yeah. Ranma and a half. I have the remake here, but I'm just including Ranma and a half overall. A tier. Because I did enjoy it. It's goofy, it's fun, and has actual like good character moments to it as well. So all around a solid show. Honey Lemon Soda. I'd give it a mid B. Too shoujo for me at times, but still a well-written series. You Are Miss Servant. C. I didn't like the ending of that last season. And just wasn't all that great. 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. S tier. Fantastic. I don't need to explain that. Just great fucking harem romance. Let's see. How I Attended an All Guys Mixer. Low B. I mean, I will probably go back and watch this eventually, but I did watch a couple of episodes of it and just wasn't too terribly impressed with it. I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons. Kind of C tier right now. You want me to slow down? I don't really have a whole lot to say about some of these. Like, I mean, if there's any you want me to elaborate on, go ahead and just say so. But I guess I can slow down and talk a little bit more about them. See if I can Oh, you guys want you guys want to maybe be able to comment on them too. Okay, okay. I will slow down for your sake if that is the issue. If you have anything to say it now. I'm gonna take a drink here. I'll wait for you guys to catch up if you have any comments on things that have been put in there. So I guess I can elaborate a little bit on why some of these are where they are. Not a huge fan of the way Princess Lessons has been doing the romance element of it. That's pretty much like the core part of it. It's entertaining for like the character part of it, but I still don't think it's a fantastic series. When we talk about I don't even know. So honestly, it might be a good point to just be like, well, we'll move on from here, and I'll be much slower and more deliberate with it, so that you guys can follow along. So I'm gonna move on to uh I have a crush at work. I'd give it a B, honestly. Like it's nice, chill, low key, relaxing series, but nothing super special. Um, like I like the characters, I like their relationship. Um, Horror vibes, huh? Yeah, it does seem a little bit like psychological horror. Um, let's talk about 365 Days to the Wedding. With this one, I'd like parts of it. I would put it low A because I do like the characters' relationship. I just feel like the fact that it gets interrupted by two like side arcs that feel like they have nothing important, no important hand in the plot, kind of ruins the whole thing. Like you're going, it's good. Okay, you're gonna get the divorce arc now. All right, we're gonna get back onto it. It's going, it's going, it's going, it's good. Now you're gonna get the single mother arc. So I like it. I think it's a solid A. It just has some fundamental flaws to it. Um, Madaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms. D, very boring, very unentertaining. I can't get behind it. It goes nowhere. It is like a less horny rent a girlfriend. I like the premise of it, but I don't really think it delivers on the things I really, really like. I'm just I'm not super impressed with it. Yeah. All right. Tying the knot with an Amagami sister. S tier, if you ask me, especially after the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes. They've been freaking great. I love the series. I think if you're into like romance and stuff, you definitely should check it out. I feel like the characters are well done. I enjoy Madaka. He is boring, yes, but I like the girl. Reminds me a lot of Psyche K. All right. Like I said, if you like it, good. I'm not gonna stop you from enjoying it. I just don't. But yeah, as far as uh tying it out with an Amagami sister goes, I do really like all of the characters. Um and they all have their own arcs. The main character goes through his own. The supernatural elements make it interesting. Very fun altogether. So tying it out with an Amagami sister, S tier. Um I'm living, or I'm married to a girl in class that I hate. A tier. I'll put it in A tier. It's got some issues with pacing and stuff, but I do like the characters and how they interact with each other. Um, as far as like character development goes for this one, I like that Akane has been getting more and more into like tsundere mode, where she is like in denial of the fact that she likes the guy, and Saito is just kind of like taking a usual approach to it. She says just a funny character to me. Looks like I'm at the end of the anime that I have watched with Blue Box, and we'll be moving into manga now. Blue Box, A tier, but its big issue is that Hina is the better girl than Chinatsu. Otherwise, really good series all around. I do like the characters. I don't think there's a bad one. It's just you've got the wrong one to focus on, and it just, as far as like the viewer's experience goes, it doesn't feel right. I get it. You don't get to choose who you fall in love with. I hear that all the time, but it's like as far as like a reader's experience goes. Um, in the U.S., I believe you're legally allowed to marry your second cousin. Can I ask about your blue box take? What specifically? Because it's a good series. Because I get it. Like I said, as far as blue box goes, do you really want to know, Pilgrim? Do we really need to rehash this? Incest is wincest, I guess. The girl choice? What? That I think Hina is a better character than Chinatsu, or has better chemistry than with Taiki than Chinatsu? My point is on this. Sure, you can't choose who you fall in love with. Fair. Um, but from a reader slash viewer perspective, if you're watching someone go for a character who just isn't as interesting or isn't as fun, it doesn't make sense. It makes the story that much worse because you're sitting there watching someone who is a much more endearing character lose. It's just something about the way people view romance, or the way particularly some people view romance, and how it's written that I don't know how to explain it other than from the point of view of someone reading the series, it's just not as entertaining to watch someone who is a better character win. It's not like they're sorry, it's not watch someone who's a better character lose for no reason other than just the main character arbitrarily chose that girl. Pardon the hiccups. I'm struggling here. Well, actually, the context of that clip is one of the shows on this list. 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you. I can actually tag the video. I can try and find the video here really quick and drop it in the chat because I was doing a review. Is there a Um, uh, Here we go. Lonely Man reviews harem anime. Copy the link. I agree. Shinatsu is still a good character. So that right there should be the video. That is the context for that clip. And it was talking about the manga for the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you. And now that we're in the manga territory, let us begin. So, my wife is Wagatsuma-san. And if you haven't heard of this one, basically this dude has the ability, gets this like supernatural power where he will like fall asleep and find himself in the future. And now those visions will last, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. But effectively he learns that he's married to the most popular girl in class, and he's a loser who starts going out of his way to try and like actually make it happen and all of that. It's a ridiculous story of a bunch of like virgin dudes who just are absolutely no good losers. Honestly, it's a C tier manga. There's a point at which one of the dudes is like a fat, ugly guy, whips out two fucking vibrators and starts threatening a chick. It is insane. Like, genuinely insane. There's a whole thing about the dude getting raped by a deer. Yes, it is utterly ridiculous as a manga. And I would not recommend anyone go read it. Prison school. Oh God, no. I don't want to think about that. Gal Gohan. This one kind of makes me uncomfortable because it's a student and teacher sort of thing. And otherwise it's just kind of generic, like cooking romance. So it's all right. A condition called love. I should slow down. Sorry. As far as Gal Gohan goes, basically this chick wants to learn how to cook, so the teacher opens up a cooking class, and she's the only one there, and she has a thing for him, and he is constantly trying to fend off her advances. Condition called love. It's probably going to give me some flack, but I've only read like one volume of this, and I wasn't too terribly impressed with it. It was a little too shoujo for me to really appreciate it. Maybe if I got back into it and read more of it, I'd have a different opinion of it. But I don't know, wasn't feeling it at the time I picked it up. So, I belong to the baddest girl at school. I'll put this at a low B. The chat definitely belongs at prison school. Apparently. As far as as far as this manga goes, I belong to the baddest girl at school. She's basically a delinquent who asks this dude out who got bullied in middle school, and he thinks she's picking on him, but what she's actually doing is like she has a crush on him. So for the longest time, there's this huge misunderstanding that like he thinks he's just her gopher, but she thinks he's her boyfriend. So it's entertaining to a point, but not the most amazing thing. The childhood friend in this one is a piece of fucking shit. I hate her. Okitsuda. I don't know if I'm objective about it. I'd probably put Okitsuda in like a very, very low B. I like it, but it's just kind of all right. Particularly because like the gimmick of it just wears off really fast, and the one relationship I'm actually interested in isn't even really the main focus of the story. So, girl with the Sanpaku eyes, another C tier one. It's cute, but I feel like the cuteness of it just doesn't last. It's also in full color if I remember correctly, and it's only 5 volumes long, but it's all right. It's all right. Lust Gias. F tier. I'm not really sure. I haven't watched that one. But Lust Gias is probably one of my least favorite things I've ever touched. Effectively, this dude and this chick get cursed by a demon that makes them really, really fucking horny. But if they have sex, they die. So they basically spend months on end just performing fellatio. Meanwhile, the guy starts to cheat on her, even though he's already admitted that he has a crush on this chick on the front who is his childhood friend, and it turns into this really fucking stupid love triangle. Shit, it sucks. We're new at this. Damn, gotta do the Mormon loophole. Yeah, pretty much. So we're new at this. I'd put it at B. What the F and NTR is that? Yeah, pretty much. It pretty much devolves into some NTR shit. So anyway, we're new at this. Married couple, like newlyweds, trying to do their thing, but every time they go to bed together, one of them ruins the mood. Every single time. Cute series, pretty wholesome as far as like their like relationship dynamic goes. There's none of like the stress or whatever, and the fact that the dude's basically like a golden retriever of a person and she is the like cool, not very expressive type. It's a good series and it's all the way complete. And yes, there is a whole like family ending part to it, so it's good. How to treat a lady knight. This one, fantasy. Basically, some mage falls in love with this chick because she has nice abs and spends the rest of the series like flirting with her, trying to get her to like marry him. And he actually gets it in the bag. And I think one of like the last things they put in the manga was basically talking about how good he is in bed. It's B tier. It's entertaining, but it's definitely dumb. There's Love in Sight. Beihei Neko is not on this list, Marcel. I refuse to put it on here. But if it was, it would be F tier. there's Love in Sight, blind chick, and like really like hardcore delinquent dude meets a blind chick and falls in love at first sight and decides to stop being a delinquent. This one I think I would still put in like the B category. It's entertaining. I do like the characters, but there's a lot of stuff about like blindness and disability in there. Um, it feels a little bit like a PSA at times. Hitomi-chan is shy with strangers. C tier, very generic. Y'all fucking love that cat. What is your problem with that cat?
No, no, no.
No cats. No cats. So Hitomi-chan is shy with strangers. Another like height gap sort of thing. Imagine like Walmart great value version of The Dangers in My Heart. That's what this one is. So it's entertaining in its own right, but just kind of there. I don't care what you say. Fruity-san is scary. C tier. Basically, delinquent girl. Shut up, all of you. Shut up. Stop. Don't want to talk about the damn cat. So, Foodie-san, it's all right. Delinquent girl who's just largely misunderstood by everyone around her. Makes friend in class, and it's only a couple volumes long. So, I mean, if you really want to sit down and read it, it's okay. Please put them on, Miss Takamine. Wasn't a fan of this one because I could see why some people would like it because it's gratuitous fan service. But I'm going to put it in C because I just wasn't a fan of the characters or the story it was trying to tell. Basically, the premise of this one's actually getting an anime, is that this chick has the ability to undo any event that she has ever done in her life simply by removing her underwear. And now one guy in her class who happens to be a friend of hers happens to find out about her power and is somehow immune to it because he saw her tits or something. So now she basically turns him into her personal slave who has to constantly replace her panties every time she takes them off. Because guess what? When she uses the power, it consumes her fucking underwear. It is an utterly ridiculous series. Kubo won't let me be invisible. A tier, if you ask me. It's a really good one. That one's complete, fully finished. I like the characters and the art style and the humor of it. Solid romance series. How to Grill Our Love. B? I'd put it in B. Consuming your underwear. Now that's a superpower. Sounds like Kazuma from Konosuba. Oh, you guys are probably going to have a heyday with that anime. It's coming out sometime soon. Anyway, How to Grill Our Love. It's an interesting romance. I mean, they get married in like the first couple of chapters. And then it's basically just them trying to like balance their long distance marriage because she works in one city and he lives in another. Eventually, gets to go remote, but it all centers around the fact that this dude loves to grill out and cook food and stuff. He's constantly experimenting on his grill. So you can learn how to make food from this one, but it's alright. It feels generic at times. The Invisible Man and his soon-to-be bride. This is another one that I would say is B tier. Tales of Wedding Rings that low. Bro, that series is trash. It is doo-doo. Which one did I just put down again? Invisible Man and his soon-to-be bride. Adult romance, doesn't really have any like sexy stuff in it, but it's entertaining enough because it's basically an invisible dude who works as a detective in a like world with like monsters and aliens and stuff as like everyday creatures. So like you'll meet elves or like actual aliens or beast people or whatever through their detective agency. It's an entertaining series, but nothing particularly amazing. Oh, also the chick is blind, so that's a thing. Blind girl and an invisible dude. I'm only doing the ones that I have seen and read. That's why this list is coming to an end here, as you can see. These are all the ones that I actually have some experience with. There are other series like say Chobits and stuff like that I haven't seen, so this isn't all anime in existence. Yeah, fuck your disabilities. I'm destroying all the ramps. I'm destroying all the ramps so that disabled people can't get into the buildings. Defund the paramedics, defund disabilities. Crimson Law 2028. Survival of the fittest. Sign of Affection didn't really care much for. I've only read a little bit of it. Wasn't a huge fan of it. It was too touchy-feely for me. And then I tried watching a little bit of it too and wasn't really interested in it even then. So, sue me. How did I forget My Love Story? That's not even on this list, but I've seen it. Sweat and Soap, though, is S tier. Like, absolutely awesome. I love Sweat and Soap. I like the dynamic between the characters. I like the whole like concept of it. The overall story is great. I do recommend people actually read Sweat and Soap. And I'm still pissed that it will never yeah, that's the issue, Marcel. It like the fact that it doesn't have an anime is fucking criminal. Like what the hell? Get a silent voice on there. I don't think I put a silent voice on here because I don't really consider that one a romance. Like there's nothing like I know he like has a bit of a like there's some interest there, but as far as I was aware, there is never anything really confirmed about it. Masamune Kun's Revenge. Low A because it does get a little bullshitty in there, but it's an entertaining series if you ask me. Please Go Home, Miss Miss Okotsu. Sweat and Soap was great. How has that not gotten an anime? I genuinely don't know why Sweat and Soap doesn't have an anime. Yeah, I know, but it's not like a huge core element of the series. That's my point. There's no real like big relationship arc for a silent voice. It isn't like integral to the story like a lot of these have, like either like a huge focus or are entirely focused on the romance element of it. So I would not count a silent voice as a romance because it's more of a drama and it more so focuses on like the bullying and redemption arc of it. Please Go Home, Miss Akutsu-san. Basically, just a tsundere story about a chick who needs to put on more clothes than she wears and constantly hangs out at this dude's house and is completely unaware of the fact that she actually has feelings for him. It's an all right series, but again, it fails to really like truly distinguish itself in an outstanding way. My Wife is a bit intimidating. I would put this one at a low B because adult romance, there is sexy time in it, but it can feel pretty like generic. I have not seen Kimi ni Todoke. That's why I haven't ranked it. I can't speak on it because I don't have any experience with it. And Love Hina, I'll put in the high B category because I did enjoy the first volume of this manga. But I can't really say that it's been something super spectacular. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the main character, but insofar as like the story goes and how it's been written, I have enjoyed it. So yeah, that is my tier list of every single romance anime and manga that I have watched. So as far as questions go, maybe erased. If it isn't a series that focuses heavily or exclusively on romance elements, I won't. I didn't include it in here. Like you could make the argument that some of the series on my list that I went through. Let's go through here really quick. I mean, there is a kind of romance element to Apothecary Diaries, but I wouldn't include it in here. Same reason why I didn't include Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf, is because it doesn't feel like it focuses terribly, like a ton, on the romance element. It feels like it leans heavily in the direction of slice of life. Banished from the hero's party, I feel like the romance element was a subplot. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to read it, and I've been like slowly getting through it. My Love Story, I know a lot of people like it, but I would put it, like, if it was on this list, I would put it on a high B. I actually, hold on a second. Let me get let me go find it so I can put it on here. Just so I can piss people off because I know nobody's gonna like the fact that how did I completely forget my Kive? Add, select, completed, select score, episode scene, add. Okay, let's do this. Save image as. Downloads. Open. Oops. Cool. So now I can go over here and I can click this. Downloads, romance. Where the fuck did it go? Did I? Shit. Okay. I guess I got to go back and do that again because I must have sent it to the wrong fucking place. Oh. Okay. 3D Kanajo Real Girl. No, I have not watched that one. I would put My Love Story like right here in the upper end of B. That would effectively be my ranking for it. It really wasn't my thing, but it's not a terrible show. I would consider Tokyo Revengers dog shit trash that deserves to burn in a fire. That's what I would consider Tokyo Revengers. I have a fucking hate boner over Tokyo Revengers. Anyway, that is everything that I wanted to talk about tonight. Everything I wanted to do tonight. So, thank you everyone who joined in and chilled out and chat and had fun. I appreciate it. So there may be another stream tomorrow. It really depends. I might do some Monster Hunter Wild stuff. Because that game's in beta. But Monday, Ubel Blett. Tuesday, Monday, Ubel Blett, and I don't think I'm streaming with I don't think I'm streaming with Biggles this week. I think he's at a con. So it'll be Monday video, Wednesday video, hopefully a Friday video, and then stream next Saturday. That's pretty much everything. So, I mean, if you're here, I'd hope you'd subscribe and check out some of the other stuff that's on the channel. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, you can go over there. Follow me at Crimson Lawson. Otherwise, again, have a good night. For you Americans who are going to watch sports ball, happy Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not going to pay attention to that shit because I don't watch sports. Instead, I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want, you know? How about we just play us out with a good old classic? You know, let's do this one. I haven't used this one in a while.
I cannot wait to watch the genocide.